And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blanken. And today we are joined by the one, the only, Gail Thorvardson. Tyler, how excited are you for today?
Brad, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's about a 15. You and I have been looking forward to this particular episode for several weeks. We are joined with, like you said, the one and only Gail Thorvardson. So to let our listeners know, kind of peek behind the curtain, Gail is not only a wonderful friend and a listener of Gimmick Infringement, but Brad and I used to work with Gail. Gail is a longtime veteran teacher, newly retired also, and she is a wrestling fan. So truly the perfect guest for today's episode. Today's Valentine's episode as well. We have some AEW talk, some Valentine's talk. We'll probably make Super Bowl predictions. The game may be over by the time you're hearing this, but long story short, we are super stoked. Gail, welcome to Gimmick Infringement. How are you?
I am really great. I love being here with you two, and I've been teaching for a long time, and I miss you all. It's my first year of retirement. So I'm really glad to be here, and I have plenty of time.
Well-earned retirement. Well-earned retirement.
Yes.
Amen.
Teaching is becoming more and more of a challenge, and I can say that I'm glad I'm retired. I wouldn't want to be facing what you guys are facing right now. It's tough, and our kids need you.
Well, staying on education for a moment, Gail, before we get into the formal wrestling conversation, tell us a little bit more about your teaching career. Bring us back to rookie Gail in the classroom.
Well, I started teaching in Alter Valley School District in 1984, and as a special ed teacher, and taught there 7 years. And then I was 30 years in the Marana School District. And the last 3 years were the best years because you were we were all together in the same area. And Tyler, you were my co-teacher, and those were the best teaching years that I've had. I thought we made quite a team. It was really a pleasure. And I'm so lucky that I had this as my finishing time period, because in teaching you have those easier years and harder years, and more going on and less going on. But we seem to strike up a good friendship, and I think we made a lot of strides with our kids, and I know that we certainly taught with great respect and affection for our students.
Absolutely. Yeah, Gail, everything you said times 1,000. Thank you for that. Brad,
Before we move on, I gotta say, I agree with you, because I've worked with you. I had worked with you for years, but never worked with you directly until the last few. But I want to go back for a second as you, I think, closed the door. You moved just ever so slightly out of the way, and we got to let the viewers on YouTube take a look at that tag team in the back. If you can't see, that is Gail and Tyler holding the straps behind Gail up on the wall. Just amazing. Truly one of the best teams I've ever worked with.
Well, that was such a surprise for me when I came in, because I was teaching remotely, and it was you guys really made it special for my last day at the school, and that was given to us both and we each got one, and it was just, it's a thrill. It's a thrill to have that. And I felt the love from the department, from the English department, which was what was different for, like you said, Brad, we've been teaching together a long time, but through this co-teaching model, when it's properly used, departments work together. And so I really felt that Tyler and I were teaching together. Not I was in there as a special ed person, kind of like an aide in the background, and we I really wasn't, not, I appreciate the aides, but not really teaching, and we really had a good thing going for that, and spent many an hour on the weekends planning together.
Yes, I cherish those memories. It's hard to believe that was only a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
In some respects, it feels like
yes,
it was another lifetime. I don't know,
different lifetime. Yes,
yeah, but the memories are something I cherish regardless.
Well, and you see that, I mean, over the years, because the co-teaching model has been there for a while, but to be implemented, what I would consider correctly, Miranda did a really good job doing that, and it was following the co-teaching model. We did follow it.
I think it's so important that you have a partner that you gel with, and you guys always worked so well together. Shout out to Mel somewhere in southern Wisconsin, who was the best co-teacher that I've ever worked with. I had a blast, and I know when it works, it works. She and I were great together. I was bummed that it had to end, but I had to come back to AZ. So to see it again and see it with you guys, that was so fun to watch. So fun to be around. You two truly were a dream team.
Oh man,
it was.
Appreciate that.
I appreciate you saying that, but
Yeah,
it was pretty special. And like I said to Tyler, it's like it doesn't always work out like this, that you can really mesh. Yeah.
Sometimes it crashes and burns.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, shout out to Allie Pierce, by the way, for that artwork. That was a really special day. I think it was one of our last days when colleagues, Brad included, said some really kind words, and part of our, I guess, parting gift was that artwork. I still love that. I have it on the other side here of the room I'm in. It's not behind me. My head's already blocking so much of the wall.
Mine too.
But obviously, trust that I have it. Like I can see it right from here. That's very special to me.
It really was special, and I really like my boots.
Yeah. We were given ring gear. I think this was Allie's vision. If Allie's out there, shouts to her. She is fantastic. Yeah, you have the red boots. I think I have the Olympic wrestling style footwear. My quads are looking rather muscular, so I don't know, Gail. I'll take it. Both of us have belts, so we're champions.
Yes.
I think it's a win.
Yeah, they took off a few pounds. I'm game for that anytime.
That's fair. Well, Gail, I think this is the perfect time to transition into some wrestling talk. So to let our listeners know, I think Brad may already be familiar with this story. During the first year that you and I co-taught, at some point I shared with you my love for professional wrestling. I think I told you I have two loves outside of the job, one being basketball, the other being professional wrestling. And somehow, out of the kindness of your heart, one day you texted me that you were watching Monday Night Raw, back when it was watchable, if you will. And I really thought that was just going to be a one-off. Like, oh my gosh, this woman, this colleague is just doing a really kind act by watching something she knows I like. But you didn't just stop there. Somehow, I forget if it immediately became a weekly conversation for us, sort of appointment viewing, or maybe you remember the logistics. So I want to pass it to you, but correct me if I'm wrong. That was your introduction into wrestling. This was maybe 2017, 2018. You started watching Monday Night Raw, and here we are today.
Well, I did it for the, connection, to connect with you. And so that we would, it's just nice to have something to connect with personally. And it really was out of my regular comfort zone. Although, as you both know, I did watch Gene Kiniski in the 60s wrestle, and he was known as Canada's greatest athlete. So he was well respected. He lived in the United States, even though he was Canadian. But his two sons were about my age, a little younger, and so I did have that basic, which is quite different than today's wrestling. You could just picture it. Yeah. So, but what I was really connected to, which I didn't really expect, and I think people who automatically turn off to, if you say you watch wrestling, it's really interesting because I can really take the outsider's perspective, and they always say, well, it's fake, but it's like, watch these guys. First, they are terribly, terribly athletic. They are so athletic. They are so in tune with each other, and to make a show. And then if you watch it further on, you get to know the storylines, and you realize it's not just people out there fake wrestling. That is not what it is. And that's not why you have the tens of thousands of fans that you do have. You have tens of thousands of fans because they connect with their audience, and they really do, like country music. They do so much community service work to connect with the community that makes them so popular. But you can, you watch Ricochet, who I have his shirt on.
You have the shirt. Yes, you came prepared.
Watch him, do his flips and his, that man is so talented.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's a great transition into the next question we have for you, Gail. Who are some of your favorite current wrestlers? Could be from WWE, AEW, whoever.
I like Becky Lynch. It's not I don't like her hair, the way she's doing her hair, all that curls and shortened up a little bit, but I do like her and her red hair. I really enjoyed the Keith Lee in his debut to AEW. I like Britt Baker.
Nice.
I always want to say DDS, but it's DMD.
Yes, yeah.
And so, she's just she really has brought a lot to it, and I think that she brings out the example that it's not a bimbo thing. You can't be dumb and do this. You've got to know what you're doing. You've got to be smart. And I think the wrestlers show that all the time. And then I shout out to Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair and their fight the other day, even though they both lost. But that I was watching with my grandsons, and they were quite enthusiastic. And it's the first and only time I think they've ever seen wrestling. And they wanted Charlotte Flair because Grandpa wanted Charlotte Flair. And they said at the end, even though, Charlotte did better than your wrestler, Grandma. So
this was the Women's Royal Rumble match, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was, and Ronda Rousey came in, right?
Yeah.
Right, and she won.
Yeah, she won. So, so who else do I like? Of course I like Ricochet, and I wish I watched more wrestling because I don't see him at all. And I feel...
I don't blame you.
I don't think watching more wrestling would help you find him on your screen.
I mean, how can they not use him?
It's a great question, Gail.
Thank you.
We've been asking that for years.
Thank you. That's been not a consistent segment on the show, but I think Brad and I have both lamented about that on more than one episode.
I mean, he's so good looking. He's so talented. And when he stands up on the ropes, I mean, my God, you just look at Adonis.
Yes.
I think.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's the
Thank
word
you.
that I've been using. Yes.
Someone else feels that way
Yes.
as well. There's three of us.
Yeah. So I didn't get that from you guys, did I?
No,
I mean, that's
No.
my
This is
take on
organic.
it. So who else do I like?
You gave us a lot of great names, spanning both major companies.
Yeah, it's been a shift to change to AEW. I really like the principles of the company. I like the fact, with Keith Lee coming, that he comes because he wants to have his own. He wants to control his product, or if that's the way you say it, or he wants to
brand.
have something to say about it, rather than being told what to wear and how to look. Because he's a big guy, 348 pounds. He's big.
He's a big boy.
So we want to. I really want to shift there, but I do go back because and WWE really puts on a good show. I mean, they have
production value is
production is pretty good, pretty darn good.
And what you said, Gail, a few minutes back about the community outreach, we see AEW doing that. I think that's been a really a strong point in WWE since as long as I've been watching. Is they are very good about partnering with the Make-A-Wish Foundation and really making it about the kids in the community. I know we don't always say the most positive things about the WWE product, but it's clear that that's something they do really well, and that their wrestlers, their performers also clearly really care about that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you just cannot underestimate the value that is to the community. Like, I know that many of them go to hospitals and do last wishes type of things. And even something that they get paid for, but is really special, is like that when I retired and you changed schools, is that Darby Allin, whatever you call that.
I was hoping that would come up. He got
paid, but it was really special, and it really makes you. It was a special gift that really I thought it was so cool.
I think we should
so too. Shout out to Brad for that.
We should pause for a second here because I'm absolutely going to insert this into this episode.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That was awesome.
Amazing. Yes, I was just watching that yesterday. I actually sent it to my dad, and we were just having another moment of just sheer elation. That was I just remember that being played on the big screen, like on the via the projector in our colleague's room. Yeah, this wasn't just something you sent me and I got it on my phone, Brad. This was a English department organized. Let's take 20 seconds to watch this video. No one has any idea who this guy is that's creating this cameo.
Right.
They may not even care.
Yeah, right. No.
But they were invested for those 20 to 30 seconds. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting there like ready to fall out of my seat because I did not expect. I just did not expect that. Yeah, that was awesome, Gail. Thank you, Brad. And thank you, Miranda High School English department from last year. That was a very special memory.
And he didn't just talk. I mean, it wasn't just, he was in his ring gear and his makeup and his hands.
Yeah, and he was holding the strap.
He was the champion.
Yes.
That was awesome.
It was.
I don't know if I told you about this. My mother, this is the last thing I'll say, and then I guess we can get to our questions, our AEW specific questions. My mother watched that, and her first words were, "Oh, that's so nice. A colleague dressed up and created a video for you."
That is
I said, Ma, that's Darby Allin. That's not a fellow English teacher at Miranda High School. Then once she understood the gravity of it, I think she appreciated it even more. But yeah, she thought like that was you, Brad, or that was some other. I said, no, Ma, that's
not quite that lean.
He's a professional wrestler.
At that point, my beard, I think, was down to here too.
Yeah, and his hair is a little more blonde than yours.
Yeah.
He may have a few more tattoos than you. Yeah,
More
different
tattoos,
guys. Different guys. Gail, I think we've reached the point where we're ready to dive into our usual weekly questions. Of course, these will be centered around the week that was in AEW. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Great.
Yes,
So
I hope that I can sound like I know something about.
oh no, you're crushing it so far. You've clearly done
Yes,
your research,
absolutely.
and
Yes, heck yes.
this is going to be a favorite episode for me for sure. So, first question for both you and Brad: AEW Dynamite. Brad and I had a special episode last week where we interviewed independent wrestler Jorge Santi, the Inner City King. Shout out to him. And we also had a Dynamite preview in that episode. Brad and I had the feeling that this was going to be a memorable Dynamite. But Brad, I don't know about you. Dynamite far exceeded my yes. This is why, listeners, you need to make sure you watch YouTube. Brad just did the Keith Lee pose. We'll get there, Brad. Don't you worry. My point here is that I think Dynamite, for me at least, really over delivered. We knew we'd get a surprise. We knew we'd get a main event title match. But oh boy, was it a great show. My first question for you both, Brad had a great lead in for me here. I want to start with the Limitless One himself. Keith Lee made his debut. We predicted it. Brad was all over this going back a week ago. He thought it was going to be Keith Lee, and he ultimately convinced me that it was probably going to be him. So he appeared. He was the mystery opponent. He defeated Isiah Kassidy, earning a ticket to the Face of the Revolution ladder match at their pay-per-view in March. My question here is quite simple, though. Was Keith Lee's debut in AEW perfect?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I have to field this. I've been dying to talk about this. So oh man. Okay. The Isiah Kassidy coming out, the private party, and the ASHFCRQO,
All the letters.
whatever the hell that thing is, that will obviously soon be breaking up. And I'm really happy about that. Because that means it is the 13th, in less than a month, we're getting Hardy Boys in AEW. I can't wait. So, also as an aside, Matt Hardy on Twitter tweeted, "I feel like I'm going to be just broken." And I was like, give me broken Matt Hardy again. I can't wait for this, because he got robbed during the pandemic. He debuted in front of nobody. So anyway,
all the breadcrumbs are leading us there.
It's just,
and it's best for everyone. For
and
Private Party,
so
for
good.
Matt Hardy.
Yes.
Great way to introduce Jeff Hardy.
We all know that Wardlow's going to turn. They've been teasing us for 4 months that this is going to happen, and they're doing the same thing with Matt now that Jeff is released. Like, everything is just so good. The storytelling there is so tight. It's so good. But watching them come out, commercial break, coming back, and Cassidy, who absolutely rules. This is the part that I think is getting undersold about how good Isiah Kassidy was in that match, to make him look like $1 million. But because I love Cassidy, man. Like, I just love watching him work. He pops me every single time with his scream. I don't know why. I thought we were going to get the scream on the toss. We didn't. We got it into what I thought was going to be a Samoan drop, and then it was just Keith just killed him. My favorite thing about this is that we got all of the Keith Lee stuff. All of it. We got all of the Keith Lee stuff, minus the Spirit Bomb. But we got all of the Keith Lee stuff. And it was like, let's showcase what this dude can do. I guarantee Tony Khan was like, I want a match where you can show how athletic you are. The springboard over the ropes into a crossbody, leaping over Isiah Kassidy.
Yes.
But you know what my favorite part of the whole thing was? Unzipping the vest.
I thought you were going to say that.
To reveal
slowly unzipping,
slowly, right? And just doing it like this, just to let people know. It wasn't the, hold on, we're going to do the bask in his glory chants, which were incredible. Yes. To hear that again. It was euphoric. The whole thing was so euphoric. That Enziguri counter where he just straight up punched his leg off was amazing. Gail, what are your thoughts? Perfect. And I said Isiah Kassidy was the best dance partner for him.
You called this.
I feel totally vindicated in this, because that humped. It was so good. Gail, go ahead. I want to know.
No, I just that punch in that he gave. I just thought he's never going to get up. That's going to have broken his leg. I mean, that was it. It was just timed perfectly.
Yeah, it was so good.
It was, and they're such different physiques that they still made it work. They made a show work, and it was convincing. So, but that hit, that was just amazing.
I he just popped him right off.
It was just timed perfectly.
Yeah, he ran through the clothesline. And then shoulder blocked Kassidy 1,400 feet.
Yeah, out of the ring.
This was after the very first thing. I'm gonna go out, get up in your face, and start poking you, guy who outweighs me by 2 knees, and then I'm gonna get tossed into the corner, just shoved into the corner, and then yeeted into outer space. When he threw him across the ring, I put it on Twitter and I tagged NASA to see if they could find his body up in space. Like, just absolutely insane.
Can I just say, great tag as well, Brad? You sent me your tweet, and I know when you do that, like it's going to deliver. It's going to be an A1 tweet, and you sent me it, and then I got these Twitter notifications, and it showed me this person's liked Brad's tweet. This person has. So I think your tagging of NASA was very cerebral. You got, I think, at least. I mean, I saw 6 or 7 likes easily. Within
just
5
because
minutes.
of the NASA tag and because of the AEW hashtag, but it was a perfect debut. His music instantly went to the best music in the industry right now. Mikey Ruckus is on fire with his music. He is modern day Jim Johnson. I'm just going to say it. Just putting that out there.
Wow.
Like, get out of here, CFOs. Mikey Ruckus, peak. Like, he is the best in the industry right now. If you want a hot take, that's my hot take. I don't even feel like it's hot. I just feel like it's fact.
Well, that was there were so many questions going into this match, and if it were Keith Lee, I think the three of us obviously all enjoy his work. We just love this guy, and so it wasn't just is he going to deliver a great match with Isiah Kassidy, like you said, Brad, and you said, Gail. It was, well, what ring gear is he going to have? Brad, you and I on the last episode said, if this man is forced to wear a girdle or a swim shirt, we riot, period. So the gear was back to NXT, Keith Lee.
Yes.
And like you said, the music, right?
So good.
The three of us being super fans of this man, we love that NXT presentation.
Yes.
The Limitless song where he's rapping over it. We didn't love the generic video game music he was given when he appeared on Monday Night Raw. So the whole presentation, I completely agree with you both. It really was perfect. The music, the gear, the opponent. I just want to close by saying, I think possibly my favorite part of the match was not even what you both had already mentioned. I guess favorite part of this whole segment. My favorite part came after the match when Private Party was beating up on Keith Lee.
Oh, man.
And Mark Quinn, Isiah Kassidy's partner. I don't know if you've seen this guy before, Gail.
Like a feather.
Yeah, he did this senton over the rope, and Keith Lee caught him as if he were, say, Freya, your wonderful 4-year-old daughter.
Yeah,
Brad.
Over the top rope, outside of the ring.
Caught him on by his legs.
I just caught him, and he didn't even budge.
No,
easiest thing ever. And then another person came over, right?
Keith caught him and then powerbombed.
Well, Kassidy had already come over. Exactly. Kassidy came over and he caught Kassidy, tossed him on the ground, and then caught Mark Quinn and powerbombed him onto Kassidy before powerbombing him again onto the ring apron.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the sell by Mark Quinn.
So good.
Just dead. I mean,
dead body. Yeah.
I was so impressed by that. I mean, if you're listening and you're not sold on Keith Lee, or even, frankly, maybe you just didn't see a lot of him or any of him in NXT or even Raw, I think you're really in for a treat. This dude, I really believe he's going to be the first Black world champion in AEW. I'm just gonna speak it into existence. I think this guy is special, and I cannot wait to see what he does in this company. We are all basking in his glory.
I feel a little bad here because you may have just answered one of my questions. So
let's go.
Let's go.
Brought my
Wow.
A game.
Yeah,
episode.
There's so much more I want to talk about with Keith Lee, his appreciation on Twitter for the fan that showed up with his logo on a sign.
I didn't notice that initially. After he
didn't
tweeted
either.
it, I went back and watched, and I saw, there was someone in the crowd with the silhouette.
I thought that was really cool. But the thing that got me was Matt Hardy leaving. Hilariously, Tony Schiavone going, well, that's erratic behavior, if you ask me. I just bro, you don't have to sell it that much. We know what he's going to do. You don't have to be like, oh, he's acting erratically. He must be erratic, Matt Hardy. Like, we get it. He's going to be broken Matt Hardy again. But him leaving got Private Party when Matt was like in character complaining on Twitter, responding to Private Party, saying it's one of the most disappointing things. And obviously building toward we're gonna beef about this. I'm so pumped that in the next month we're gonna get Private Party versus the Hardy Boys, probably at least the start of that. That's gonna rule, and I know they've faced off before, so I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited for all of this. So just absolutely pumped. Keith Lee, man.
Yeah, it was perfect. Like you said, it really, I mean, the takeaway was Keith Lee, but then the Matt Hardy story being embedded in this and us recognizing that this is going to lead to something greater for Private Party instead of just being on our screens every once in a while and often losing.
Yes.
I'm glad you both agree with me. I also thought this was perfect for all of the reasons you two listed.
Amazing. So this next question, I know you got a sneak peek before we started recording here. I saw this morning, and I was shocked. So AEW just offered a contract to a wrestler named Nick Wayne. When Darby Allin showed up in the ring, got on the mic, and had a contract in his hand, and said, basically, "I'm offering you an AEW contract. Do you want this?" And then gave the mic to Nick, and everybody started chanting. It was pretty great. And then Nick said, yes, I want it. And the crowd went nuts at an independent show, not in an AEW event. Nick Wayne is 16 years old.
Oh.
How do you feel about wrestlers who are that young signing to a company? And this is some context. Japanese wrestlers often begin in elementary and middle school training to become wrestlers. So how do you feel about wrestlers at 16 years old signing with a major company?
Gail, I want to pass it to you first.
Well, I'm processing it. There's a window of opportunity that all athletes have to look at. And so that perhaps it seems young to me, but if you, especially given the usually aging through the 30s, you have the time. It's not like gymnastics or something where you're really figure skating, where you're really limited by your age. Not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Of
course,
you're going to age out, and so I have some concerns, but I have, I think you should be allowed to make money, and 16 is certainly not 12 or elementary school age.
Like -1.
Yeah. But I do also think that, and this is from not being a really, not probably a knowledgeable wrestling fan, but you really have to make sure that the drugs performance enhancing drugs are not part of whatever the young person goes into. I know young people can do it without any help from friends, but that would be my concern.
Tyler?
Right. Yeah, Gail, great points. I'm not incredibly familiar with Nick Wayne. I've seen his name before, and I saw that tweet you sent, Brad. I mean, first I was thinking if I was 16 and I got this opportunity, I would want to say yes, please. I'll accept any amount of money.
Yes.
I agree with Gail. I will say yes, absolutely. If he and his family want to pursue this, like, go for it. I've not seen the dude work, quite frankly, but he must have something if he's being given this opportunity. But Gail, what you said is spot on in terms of, I would want to know, like, what is his plan? You know, like, is he gonna, I mean, I think the three of us all believe in higher education, but now more than ever, we believe in young people pursuing their passions, even if that doesn't involve, say, going to a 4-year university right off the bat. So I guess the educator in me wants to say, okay, well, what's your plan B, Nick Wayne? But just on its base, 16, signing with a professional wrestling company. If this kid is that special, if he's this much of a prodigy, I say go for it. Because if I were him, I would absolutely want to sign on the dotted line. That's a really, really cool story. But you can get hurt doing this, as the three of us have seen and read, and as our listeners are familiar with, right? This is, of course, the matches are scripted, but you can become seriously injured. So I hope that they really take their time with him. But I'm all for it. I think this is really cool.
Great.
Gail.
Hopefully, Gail, you have.
Well, I was just, I mean, the other thing is that being taken advantage of in many different ways is a possibility that is unfortunate. Who is overseeing it? Who oversees the money? Whenever you get money, that brings out the worst in others around people, especially fame and money. You tend to get people coming on for the wrong reasons. Right. So it's just 16 isn't very much younger than 18, and 18 he can do what he wants. So it might be an opportunity that won't come at 18 if you don't accept it at 16. I don't know. But
yeah. Brad, what's your take on
reservations? What?
Oh no, sorry. I was going to add. Sorry to cut you off, Gail. I was going to ask Brad. Brad, what's your take on this?
Yeah.
I say go for it. So all of those concerns, I think I have, but I think the way that they test the wrestlers, there's all of the, there's a lot of policies in place, and I think AEW does a decent job. I don't think they have nearly the wellness program that they have over in the WWE, not even remotely close. But Tony Khan seems to be a guy that will support anybody with anything that they need, with no threat of losing their job, save certain scenarios. we saw Max Caster get into some trouble about a year ago now because he said some things in one of his raps on Dark, and he suspended him. He could have fired him, but he didn't. He suspended him. We saw what happened with Jon Moxley. Moxley had been out of rehab for a while, like a month or two, I think, and didn't go back to work right away. He's like, go home, get right, be with your family, do all those things, whatever you got to do. So knowing all of that, and knowing that they're just growing the brand and they're growing the company, I think we're going to start seeing more wellness policies and developmental policies, pursuing different people, and I think I want to back up a second here. I think, Tyler, you and I might have to start talking Impact. The stuff going on in Impact Wrestling, they just signed Lance Storm. I know they're talking to William Regal. They're getting all these people in to be coaches and trainers that understand the science in how to develop and grow and do it correctly, especially in the wrestling industry. So with somebody so young being surrounded to so much older talent that is there to help. And that's the one thing in AEW. Of course, everybody is there to keep their spot. Of course, everybody is fighting against everybody else. That's the business. You always want screen time, and you want to make sure that your contract gets renewed once it's up. That being said, everybody there is sort of like, yeah, I want to shine, but I also want to help you, versus, yeah, I want to shine the end. So I think it's a really good place, given he can work dark matches, given that he can go and ask Chris Jericho about promos. He can go and ask Jon Moxley about promos. He can work with CM Punk. He can work with Bryan Danielson. He can train with Dustin Runnels. Like there's so many opportunities for him at AEW that I think that if he went to, like, let's say NXT, I was thinking about this morning because I was watching some Dark and Wheeler Yuta was on there doing a promo, and thinking that NXT just took too long to offer Wheeler Yuta anything. knowing that they wanted him because he's a future star, like mega star. He's already great in the ring.
Yeah.
That was the first time I saw him actually cut a promo, and it was really good. It was really good. And to know that he can just go and start wrestling rather than get kind of lost in the NXT world where they're training them correctly and they're getting good advice and that everything is state of the art. That's important, but it's not important if it doesn't ever amount to anything, or it amounts to you going to 205 Live as an afterthought. And then you just, what do you do after that? Have a dark match here or there, get released, because look what happened with 2.0. They got released and now they're killing it in AEW for what they are, but they're getting screen time. They're playing up to their strengths. It's great. So all I can think is that Nick Wayne has a bright future. After I saw that clip, I looked at a little bit of his work and I think he'll be okay. But I think for all of the reasons that both of you so eloquently listed, I think that I would have those same concerns if I were a parent. I would want to be supportive, but I would want assurances from the company.
For sure. Yeah, Brad, and like you said, with the current landscape, and now that we're seeing some talent is not being re-signed to AEW. Yeah, if Nick Wayne, doesn't have a 20-year career in the industry, what is that plan B? Will he be okay physically, mentally? I think of someone like a Dante Martin who signed to AEW, and he's super young. I want to say he's 19 or 20. Correct me if I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. And it seems like they've done it seems like they've done a really wonderful job with him, not only developing him as a talent, but I don't know Dante Martin, but he seems happy. It seems like he has a bright future there. And perhaps that's sort of that's like a best case scenario for how Nick Wayne's chapter over the next few years could play out. Because in 4 or 5 years, maybe when he's making an appearance on our program, you would imagine perhaps Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, some of these really prominent names in the company may be retiring. So
yes,
you do need that next crop coming up, and good on him and his family.
I have to transition off of this because I'm thinking about Dante now. So Dante Martin, on again, off again, here and there, Rampage, Dynamite, Dark. He's beefing with Team Taz. He has been for 18 months, feels like.
Long time.
For the last year, he's been beefing with Team Taz, and he's got a match with Powerhouse Hobbs coming up here. And here's what I think is going to happen, given all of these things that are going on with him and Matt Sydal and Lee Moriarty, who he tagged with on Dark. I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a Dante gets taken out, and then Ricky comes in. I don't know, distraction. And while Dante's getting his ass kicked, the music for Top Flight plays, and we finally get his brother returning. I need this, man.
Wow, I like that.
I feel like they're giving Dante Martin all of this time, and it's great. I love watching Dante work and set people up and go, and then take off, and he's going to jump onto the top rope. He did one of those in that tag match where Sydal and Moriarty held his hands. So he jumped in place onto the top rope and then flipped into all of Team Taz, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Or not, it wasn't Team Taz. It was Private Party and The Blade. But it was awesome. It was awesome. They're still giving him the Top Flight entrance. So I feel like they either are just having him do things because he's incredible to watch, and they're biding their time until they can put the tag team back together, or they don't know what to do with him. Because if they did, they would have given him a new entrance at this point. But Dante's still doing the arms out, Top Flight gimmick, and I don't know where that goes. I thought about making this a question, but I decided that's all I really wanted to say about that.
Yeah, I think that's a great note before we move to our next segment. I'm curious to see how Wednesday plays out. Powerhouse Hobbs versus Dante Martin. Winner qualifies for the Face of the Revolution ladder match with Keith Lee's already set for. I want to say Dante wins. I don't know that Powerhouse Hobbs should be losing again, but Dante Martin 6-man ladder match at the next pay-per-view seems like a no-brainer.
It makes way more sense. But,
too much sense.
But if Powerhouse Hobbs does in fact win, We get Powerhouse Hobbs against Keith Lee in that match.
Yeah, and Wardlow.
And
Wardlow will also be in
just
that match.
sirloin
Assuming
everywhere.
he's going to win on Wednesday.
He's going to win on Wednesday.
Yeah, I forget who he's facing.
It doesn't matter.
It's
like, it doesn't matter.
I think it's a guaranteed win.
He's going to murder somebody in there, and it's going to be awesome. But Tyler, it's time. I always get excited for this. It is time for some spiciness on the podcast. Are you ready for another edition of Hot Take Ty?
I'm so ready. Let's go.
And now it's time for Hot Take Ty. Spicy.
Sweet. All right, you two. So I thought about this, and part of the reason I've been looking forward to this episode is because I have a very, very hot take for you both today. I've kind of left some of the breadcrumbs for this on previous episodes, but I'm now ready to give you the full, the everything for it. Here is my hot take. If you both commit to it, I believe that The Bachelor will be your favorite television program on Mondays. It will, but hear me out. It will exceed Monday Night Raw, Gail, in terms of your enjoyment. Brad, it will exceed, man, you just told me not so long ago what you're watching these days. It will exceed anything Freya wants to watch, anything Jess, Brad took off the headphones. Find us on YouTube, please, at 19 Group. Jess, whatever Jess wants to watch, Brad, whatever hockey or football or program you want to look at, I'm telling both of you right now, put that to the side. Gail, I know you watch 90 Day Fiancé, so you are not above this kind of television. You know it is entertaining. Here is the reasoning I want to give you both, though. Currently, this week's episode, they're using a script directly out of pro wrestling. On the show, there are clear heels and baby faces at the moment. Right now, there is an uber heel. Her name is Shanae. She's been wreaking havoc on several of the women in the house. She has just been positioned to be the top heel. Those of you who are listening and watch The Bachelor, you know what I'm talking about, but I gotta convince these two. Here is my pitch to you both. On this week's episode, not only is it on Valentine's Day, and we'll get to Valentine's talk shortly, but Clayton, the Bachelor, former football player at the University of Missouri, I think he was on the practice squad for the Seahawks. So Gail, you're a Seahawks fan. This dude played on your practice squad. You should watch. He is going on a 2-on-1 date. So total handicap match city. He is going to go on the date with Shanae, the uber heel, and a woman named Genevieve, who's pretty much a babyface because Shanae's been just being rude to her. They're going on this date at Niagara Falls. Only one woman is going to come out with a rose. One of them has to go. It's high stakes. I encourage you both to check it out. If you give it a shot, this will be your favorite program on Mondays. It is way better than Monday Night Raw. That's all I'd like to say. Thank you for your time.
Gail, I'll let you respond. I have thoughts.
Well, actually, I have seen it before because you've talked about it before. It's really not my cup of tea because it's a different it's a different time in life, those people, and so I can see that it's fun and you get involved because you get involved in the storyline. So but it's scripted and it's just like 90 Day Fiancé is scripted as well, and
it's just like pro wrestling. The storylines are very similar.
I get it.
What am I missing, you two? Direct correlation this week. The heel is
okay. So when the person gets passed up, if they don't get the rose, do they hit the other person with a steel chair? Because unless that happens, Tyler, I don't believe I'll be watching this. Here's my take. I have watched The Bachelor before. I watched it long ago. I watched it a bunch not the whole season because I bailed because I was like, this sucks. I don't want to see this anymore. It's kind of like, I love watching certain shows on the Food Network. I am a recovering fat guy. So it's one of those things I just love, and I love to cook. So I love it. But when The Kitchen comes on Saturdays, I want to poke my eyes out. The Bachelor is the kitchen of television for me.
You're missing out, man. I'm
put it up
telling
there
you.
with, I don't put it up there with Survivor, put it up there with whatever that Amazing Race bullshit is. Put it up there with any reality TV. I hate reality TV so much. I don't know why. I just watch it. I'm like,
no, I get it.
I'm watching other people live their life. I specifically don't want to watch that. I like sci-fi. Why? Because it's not my life. I love wrestling. Why? Because it's not my life. I love watching sports because it's competition, and also it's not my life. If I watch The Bachelor, it's like, oh shit, I've been through this. I know what it's like to be like super into this person who's also super into me and another person.
Yeah,
I don't need that need that in my life anymore. Like, also, I'm not a bachelor, so I don't need it. Tyler, ladies, if you're listening, ladies.
Yes.
Valentine's Day is coming up, and we gotta get my guy a Valentine. And I'm saying it like this.
We did not discuss this.
Extra creepy. If you are, say, working in a shoe store over at the Premium Outlets, or if you are just looking for a guy, looking for somebody to watch The Bachelor with, looking for somebody because you're like, I love pro wrestling so much, then I'm sure there's somebody out there for you. And there's also Tyler. I think that you have a bright future with Tyler or anybody else that is like-minded. Because if you're watching The Bachelor, you have a very specific demographic you're trying to reach. If you are a Bachelor and pro wrestling fan and you are in the greater Phoenix area, now's your time. You can email me at gimmickinfringement19@gmail.com. Let me know. I will pass along this information to Tyler, and you will have a date come Monday morning. That is all.
Well, I have no transition out of that. That was awesome. We did not discuss that.
No, we did not. No, we did not.
Great promo. That may be a borderline promo of the week. You both don't know what you're missing. I'm just gonna leave it there.
But I do. I've seen it. I'm happily missing it, Tyler.
I didn't like the crying. The guy crying. That made me feel sad. That the last remember that when I watched and he lost, and I said, I felt sorry for him, and her parents liked him and
Thank
everything.
You. That was Michelle's season, the most recent one. That was Brandon. Brandon is his name. Thank you.
Yeah, and he was such a nice guy, and
Brad, he was a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yes. But she chose a 6'8" Canadian.
Is the Guiding Light still on TV, or The Young and the Restless, or
yes, it is.
That's
I don't
on
watch, but it's really just I think Big Brother.
It sounds very similar to
General Hospital.
Yeah, because even on those, you can not only can you get that scripted soap opera stuff, but you can also get Stephen A. Smith on occasion.
This is true.
Yes. So there is that.
My mother
and James Franco for some reason.
There you go. Why not?
I'm glad you love the show. I really am. I'm happy for you. And The Bachelor.
Thank you both. How are we feeling? Valentine's Day talk now, or do we want to save it and go back to questions?
Let's do it now. Let's go.
Let's go.
The Bachelor into Valentine's. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So Gail,
somebody's going to get a rose and be disappointed.
When we reached out to you, we mentioned for this pod, of course, you wanted to tackle wrestling, and of course, you want to be respectful of your time as we approach an hour. But we did want to kind of sprinkle in just a couple of questions related to Valentine's Day, since that is tomorrow. We record this on a Sunday, and tomorrow is the big day. First question we have for you, Gail. as someone who has been married for several years now, close to 40 or
42,
past 40 at this
past
40.
40.
Jackie Robinson number. I need to remember this.
Yeah.
42 years you've been married
Yeah.
to the wonderful Jim. If he's listening, hello, Jim. You've been in this loving, healthy relationship and marriage for 42 years. Two-part question for you. First, what are your thoughts on Valentine's Day? And then second, what's your secret? How have you made it work for 42 years?
Sorry. As you saw, I choked a little bit on my, on my drink. Perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
So what do I think of Valentine's Day? I am, as you know very well, I'm not a sentimental person. I don't like the frilly-frally. I don't wear jewelry. I don't like that kind of stuff. So it's not, to me, it's not a big holiday not at all. And so, but for what's the secret, I said to Jim before we came in here, I said, now, now don't give me a silly answer. I would like what you would really say. Why have we stayed married all these years? Why do you think that we have stayed together? And he said, I think because we like each other and we don't fight, and we have common beliefs in life and what's right and wrong and what's important. And our children, of course, are the most important thing. So I thought, well, that was nice. You know, that was
like each other, don't fight, and the core of who you are, your values are very very similar. Because
I actually have thought about this week because of the pending worrying about this. The biggest mistake I think people make, you could tell me if you guys disagree, but is I think they think they're going to get married and change someone. And people do not change. Right. You marry who you marry. You better like that person, and you better accept them for who they are, and they need to accept you for who you are. Because basically, we make little changes, but basically we don't make changes because our spouse dislikes something of ours. We still continue to do that.
Right. Brad, we didn't have this on the agenda formally. Oh, I'm sorry, Gail, after you.
No, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, no, that resonates. That makes a lot of sense. As the only person on this pod who's not married, I'm processing. Brad, we didn't have this on the agenda, but I'm curious how you would answer this question as someone who's been happily married for several years and has a wonderful child. What are your thoughts? What's the secret? How do you make it work?
I echo everything that Gail said. If you and your partner, I think Jess and I are not like-minded on a lot of things, but we are on so many things that are important. And honestly, I don't know that the really big things that people make big things are the most important things. I think it's the little things, because there's so many more of them. If you are more like-minded in all the little things, or if you just sort of, Gail, what you said about changes, the small changes are so important. Because especially early on in a marriage, boy, can you have a fight. Like, you can make something small become something big if you let it happen like that. Being annoyed by the dishes or the laundry or whatever, who's doing what, I'm doing this. Because as soon as you go like, well, I've been doing this, the other person's going to go, well, I've been doing this. Right. And then it's fight time. Instead of just going like, I'm going to do these things, you're going to do these things, and that's how it's going to be. And once you accept that, everything's so much easier and everything's good. And then you have a system, and it's kind of awesome. And you find out how important that system is when somebody gets sick or if somebody's not around. But man, yeah, just sort of finding a balance. Jess and I feel like have a really good balance between who we are. She is much more measured and calculated than I am. I am way more, I'm just going to go for it and do my thing. I need a plan. I need a time. I need a place, and I need to know what we're going to do, but I don't need anything within that. If you're like, at 4:00, we're going to go build a shed. Cool. I'll be there and I'll throw that thing together. But she's much more like, okay, what are the materials we need? How are we going to pay for it? Where are we going to put it? So I'm not usually super hyper detail oriented. But Tyler, it's a lot like you and I doing the podcast. Like I will do a lot of the editing and I'll do the big things. And when I get to it, I'll get to it. And I know exactly what I need to do and I'll just do it. But you put together the show. This is a peek behind the curtain for people every week with our podcast workflow and all of these things. And it's just, that's how marriage is, and all relationships really need to be, is you have to find a balance. And if you don't, like what you said, see it on YouTube, ladies and gents, you're going to clash. And
you see it on The Bachelor as well when they're not at the same.
I bet. Only real life isn't scripted. I don't know if you know that. But
so
I did. First of all, I got Jess flowers. We never do anything on Valentine's. This year we did. I got Jess flowers, and I got her the flowers from our wedding, which are not roses. She doesn't like roses.
Too cliche.
I got Freya a rose, and Freya was super pumped about the rose. But I got just different flowers, and I had a vase and a card and something simple. So like being thoughtful, I think, is really important, but it doesn't necessarily mean like buying gifts. It's just being thoughtful, going like, well, I know you're going to work. Like when I make coffee in the morning, I usually leave before everybody's even up. So I always make sure to get coffee in a travel mug, seal the mug. Even if she's not going to drink it, it's there for her. It's ready to go. That way she doesn't have to make it when she gets up. Or just doing little things like that, always to remind you, hey, I love you, even if we're not around each other all the time. Man, so important. I didn't know I would be talking about this today.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Organic, man. That's what our on here.
That's what our listeners, listeners and our viewers came here today going like, yeah, I'm definitely here for the love talk and the bad talk. 85% of our podcast today has either been about love, The Bachelor, or just us gushing over Keith Lee.
Yes. I'm going to take some credit for the first two, and then the third was absolutely, I think, an intention of the three of us. Gail, I guess we'll maybe wrap it up here and then go back to wrestling, unless you wanted to ask Gail anything, Brad. But Gail, I know you're a big believer in that. Probably you're giving a thumbs up for what Brad said about perhaps not even Valentine's Day, but love at its best is when it's less about, I got you this really expensive gift to show you I care about you, versus the actions you give to your partner.
What Jess, I want to show you this. What Jess got me yesterday. I know I sent you a picture.
Yes, the lights.
Simple. Yes, rope light. So the lights will be going up here for the pod. I'm working on covering this window so it's not so bright in here, so that it'll be a nicer background. But Jess was just thinking like, yeah, I think get this because you talked about it one time, and just thoughtful little things. That wasn't very expensive. And it's like she bought me a light. It's not like she went out and bought me some expensive booze or something that I wouldn't drink anyway, but like getting me a light. She got me a light. What did you get for Valentine's? I got a light. It's a weird sentence.
Because I really wanted
awesome.
that light. Yeah.
Hell yes. Yeah. I didn't even know I wanted that one, but it's the perfect one.
Yeah. Gail, final words that resonates with you, I'm guessing.
Well, and I just think that being together, like for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, boys always used to say Thanksgiving was their favorite because you're together. It's not about the presents. It's about being together as a family. You're eating, that idea of breaking bread together. It's if you like each other and you want to be together, and that's what counts.
Awesome. Well said. Well, I'm ready to ask you both my question too. I'll try to make this as concise as possible. On Dynamite, we saw our TBS champion, Jade Cargill. Gail, I don't know if you've seen a ton of her work prior to this, but I'm so glad possibly you were introduced to her this past week. She defeated a debuting AQA, who we learned is actually signed. Oof. Yeah, is actually signed out AEW after her performance. Great shooting star press, as you said, Brad. But clearly going in, we knew Jade was going to win, and she did. My question for you both. Jade debuted a new move in this match. She hit, I believe, what's now being titled the Eye of the Storm. wrestler Jeff Cobb uses this move. He calls it the Tour of the Islands. It was this cool sort of spinning, not spinning suplex, but I should have looked up the formal term. Brad, feel free to jump in a moment if you'd like. It was this really cool.
It's called Four Corners.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
It's called Four Corners. Yeah.
Four Corners. Yeah. It was awesome. So my question here is, do you think this new move for Jade, should this be her finisher? Or are you still cool with the jaded finisher that she used to win this match, where she grabs her opponent by the biceps, hoists her up, and then flat down to the mat? Do you think we should just keep this new move in our arsenal and that leads to jaded? Or should this now replace her jaded finishing move? And Gail, feel free if you just want to talk also about your impressions of Jade, as she does have a lot of star power.
Well, I have no opinion on the moves because I don't know the moves, but I did think that it was nice to see that AQA have her debut. Isn't Jade the Rookie of the Year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
She's
right?
27-0, I believe. She hasn't lost the
Yeah.
match in AEW
Yeah.
so far.
So, and I loved her ring gear.
Great ring gear.
Blue.
What did you think of the entrance?
I loved it. And
Yeah.
you know, and then afterwards,
the whole presentation. Sorry.
with her, I mean, she just looked beautiful. And then she's just so dang strong. I mean, goodness sakes. So moves, I don't, I wouldn't know. I'll leave it to you two. But I did enjoy the match.
Awesome.
And AQA was, I thought, it was great that she got her opportunity.
Great debut. Also, she had no shot. Like right out the gate, you can go, this person is gonna die in the ring. So, Tyler, to answer your question about the finisher, I think she should have this be her new finisher. I think Jaded looks really cool because if your face hits the mat unprotected like that, you're done. So it makes a lot of sense. What doesn't make a lot of sense is all of the setup the other wrestler has to do to make it look good. So it's one of those deals where it's kind of like I don't think Panama Sunrise is a good comp, but because I just love that move. But it's any of those moves where the other wrestler is required to do a whole bunch of work to make your finisher look good is a less believable finisher. And for Jade, the Jaded is like, you got to like tuck your legs back and hook onto her and do all that stuff. So it's like, if they were kicking while they were up there, I would like that move better. Cause like, who's just going to tuck their legs so she could smash her face into the dirt? So I've never loved those because they're less believable. Nobody was questioning that move at all when she just went into space in the center of that ring, like a little frisbee. It was insane. That was so good. Yeah, but I could see like reserve Jaded for when you need to bust it out on somebody you can't do the four corners with. Like,
okay,
no way is she doing four corners on Nyla.
Right.
There's just no way. Right. I mean, if she does and pulls it off, I will be up and down. Like, I'm going to get arrested for how loud I'm going to be, for how loud I'll be in my house yelling. Oh my God, I can't believe that happened.
Violating HOA protocol.
Yes, because she would be violating the laws of physics. It won't make any sense. That being said, and I believe if anybody can do it, it's Jade. Look at her. Just look at her for 2 seconds and go like, imagine you're a teacher. It's parent-teacher conferences. You have her daughter. Jade walks in. Are you even going to say anything like, well, I think this kid is going to work on these things? No, it's just like, please don't hurt me. Your kid is great. Please let me know if you need anything, even if you want to take my wallet. Like, there's just, So I love that move. I think that she should use that as her new finisher only because it's a little bit more believable.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it. I'm still, I think I could still be persuaded. I just love the name Jaded for her.
Great name.
Move. It's so simple, but I think it's perfect. Yeah, we say this, it seems like every week now, she is such a star. And to me, it seems like she is so clearly improving week to week.
Yeah, every time she's in there.
I can't wait. And I know sometimes we fantasy book when is this person going to drop their title? If Jade held that title through, I mean, gosh, up until the fall or even the winter, I think at this point I'd be happy with it because I think she's doing incredibly well.
I don't think she's dropping it to anybody. Who do they have that's not?
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone you can point to that like that's going to be the person. No, it's her reign. Absolutely.
I mean, maybe eventually Anna Jay, if she can get. I don't think anybody pins her. I think it's going to have to be a tap out situation.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Maybe she passes out or no. Oh, we'll see.
I know.
I'm happy. I'm loving everything Jade is doing. And Gail, I'm glad that you I guess to no surprise, you also think she is a star and just really kind of pops off the screen.
She really pops.
I mean, she's chiseled. Like literally looks like she was created.
Yes.
So it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's the whole picture.
It's everything. Picture. It's everything you want. She's a good talker. She looks incredible. She's great in the ring.
Yes.
Man, it's all of it.
Yep. It really was complete. She is complete.
Tyler, did you catch the Talk is Jericho interview with Jade?
I did. Yes.
Hearing all the things
weeks ago, right?
Yeah, all of the things she said about the WWE offering her a contract, and it was 140 some pages or whatever, very cookie cutter contract.
Yeah. Yep.
And then just turning it down and then being upset that they made up that contract and then she said no. But what I loved was her line that she is just doing this for fun because she's like, I'm rich. I don't need to do this.
Yeah.
They already have a ton of money. So she's doing that because she wants to be there, not because she wanted to make it. She just wants to be there. She has a PhD in child psychology. She's a child psychologist. It's just what?
Yeah. And I would imagine, I think she highlighted this on that interview. And Gail, I wonder if this resonates before we go to Brad's question. I think I often forget about the fact that she's a mother. And I would imagine the AEW schedule is much more conducive to being a mom. Like I think that's so amazing. I guess if male performers are fathers, that's obviously amazing too. But women who are
Moms
wrestlers, who are wrestlers and have young children, my hat goes off to them. I just think that is that's just so incredible that you can still fulfill your career as a wrestler and be that loving, dedicated mom. I just from what I understand from you and thinking about my own mother, being a mom is a very complex responsibility. But yet you, Gail, my mother, Jade, in your own ways, you make it look effortless.
Well, it's for me, it's the best thing that I've ever done. So I think that it's very fulfilling. That's for sure. It's a huge responsibility, of course, but I don't. But with her, I really admire young people that. Well, like she has her PhD. I've noticed that quite a bit in listening to or looking up wrestlers, as I tend to do, because I don't know who it is, and you're talking, and I'll think, oh, I've got to find out who it is, what they're doing.
Google, yes.
That just like going to the colleges that they do and the things that they have behind them is just, they really put so much in. And then to have a child, my hat's off to all the mothers that work full time and yet take care of their children well. And that's a hard position to be in.
Yeah. Like Becky Lynch, I know you mentioned her at the beginning of the pod as being one of your favorites. She's a relatively new mother as well. Right.
And then she's coming back. I mean, gosh, Jade looks great. And so does she. And that's fantastic that they can do that.
Yeah. So I was looking, I had to look it up when you were mentioning that because I was thinking about Luchasaurus, who A, was on Big Brother, and B.
Yes. Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. B has a master's degree in medieval literature. So that's the one that I knew. And then he goes out there and goes, bah, and has a green tongue and wears a dinosaur snake thing mask. And it's just, I love knowing that stuff. I love knowing that Hangman Adam Page, current AEW World Heavyweight Champion, was a teacher before doing this, before getting into AEW, at least. I just think that's incredible. I think that's so cool. So transition out of the Jade conversation. This is my question. It's a pretty simple one for both of you. Thinking 1 year from now, just think ahead 1 year from now. What do you want to see 1 year from now in the AEW women's division?
Oh, I'll hand it off to you.
Would you like me to take that first, Gail?
Yes.
Yeah, 1 year from now. So February, as we record this, it's February 13th, 2022. So on the February 13th, 2023, in the AEW women's division. My first thought is I would love to see tag titles in the women's division. I don't know. I don't want to get to a point where AEW is just overloaded with championships, because I also really want to see a trios belts. Right. So how's my first thought? I don't know if I'm ready to commit to it. What I'd love to see is, Brad, I want to go back to what you said about Anna Jay. I'd love to see one of their quote unquote homegrown talents become champion. I think that's something they've done really well. And that's not really been a criticism of the women's division. They haven't just sort of plucked from WWE's roster, and then those people have been the main focus of the women's division. The champion right now, like Gail said, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, she is essentially a homegrown talent of AEW. So a year from now, I hope that whether it's Anna Jay or, I'm a big fan of Ty Conti, I hope that they really stick to prioritizing having their homegrown talent be in front and center. Of course, if Athena, formerly Ember Moon from WWE, comes in, of course we want her to get her shine and be in a prominent role. But I think that's something they've done pretty masterfully, is these names that maybe a lot of fans haven't heard of. They've been building them and I think really becoming household names in the industry. I mean, think about Britt Baker, man. A year and a half ago, did we really know who she was? And now what they've done, if you ask any wrestling fan, who is she? I mean, I would argue she's still the face of AEW. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's considered a hot take, but I hope that they continue doing that. So whether it's Anna Jay, Ty Conti, who I know was in NXT before, but's making her name here, I hope that remains a priority. Those homegrown talents, Red Velvet, Penelope Ford. I want to see one of them actually get gold by this time next year. How about you, Gail?
Penelope Ford. Yeah, I just wanted to say Penelope Ford gets kind of lost sometimes because I don't know why, but she's incredible. Anyway,
I would love to her to be a champion. She keeps improving, and like you said, I don't want them to get lost in the shuffle.
I really don't have much input, but I do like Britt Baker, and I do worry about her because of all the bleeding. She just has such a difficulty with her nose, and I hope, as a mother, I hope she's taking care of herself.
Let's hope Britt Baker is.
I worry about that. She just bleeds so much.
Well, hopefully her teeth are taken care of at the very least.
Her teeth should be taken care of. That's right.
It's a concern now that Danhausen is in the promotion, because Danhausen has a really creepy thing with teeth.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. I love how they're using him as well. Him and Orange Cassidy. I know they worked together before, but this is my first introduction to seeing them together. And like you said on a previous episode of GI, Brad, it's just so perfect. It's so different and unique and zany, and I love it. But Brad, speaking of things that I love, this week is extra special because not only do we have a Someday When You Have Kids segment, but this week is Someday When You Have Kids with the one and only Gail Thorvardson. Can we play her music?
And now it's time for
I'm crazy.
Someday When You Have Kids.
You're crazy.
Okay, Gail, I can't wait to hear what you have for us today.
Someday when you have kids,
and we should let the viewers know you have three boys.
I have three
if you want to give them a shout out, three grown sons now.
Robert, Jacob, and Stephen, and three grandchildren, Fisher, Calvin, and Lenny, who's just a month old now. the thing that Jim and I had that I think we both you have to be willing to give them time. It's not something that you can just, I don't believe in that, where you just give them that special time and then you can neglect them. You have to give them the time, which means most of your time. And it's kind of overwhelming when you're a young parent. And I can really see it with seeing the newborn in our family, how overwhelming it is. But it's a matter of putting in time. And I can say from that, that was one of the things that we did. I'm sure we did plenty of things wrong, but someday when you have kids, you have to put in the time, and they definitely appreciate it in their older years. Of course, all boys think their mothers are great, and I think my sons think that as well, and they are all good men who live up to their responsibilities, and I couldn't be prouder. So that's not really helpful, but I don't know. That's my take.
That's absolutely helpful. That's absolutely great advice.
Yeah, and Gail, I think knowing you, speaking of time, I think even though I didn't know you when your boys were growing up, quote unquote, I think as many I would say parents deal with, especially newer parents, Brad, I've learned some of this from you. Time is so important in terms of, I think, that work-life balance that Brad and I have spoken about again before, particularly as teachers. It's already, I find it hard enough to have work-life balance for myself, but then having a spouse and or having a child with that spouse, I think it's something you did incredibly well. From what I understand, you were teaching, you were a department head, and yet you were also a wife and a mother, and you were able to find time to dedicate your all during the week to your job, but then also make time for your boys. And Brad, I think, again, you do a great job of that as well. It doesn't mean it's always perfect, Gail, as you alluded to. I would imagine it's probably not always seamless, but I don't know, just being in the company of two people who seem to do it well, it's pretty inspiring. I just try to manage myself, and some days that's a challenge, but you both, I think you both already have that down, and then some.
Well, it's somewhat like teaching. If you can, and this is what I believe as a teacher, if it's not about me, it's not about the parents, it's about the student. And the same thing goes for your children. It's not about me, it's about them, what's best for them. And if you always do that, you'll be I think you'll be in a good situation. Just go focus on them. What's most important to you. Same with students. We love our students and want what's best for them. And when you're working with parents, we want the same thing. We want what's best for your kids.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It isn't. No.
But it's worth it. But it's worth it. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. And I would say it's really worth it when they're all grown up and
they still think you're the best.
They still think you're the best. Yes.
Yeah, you did it well. Sweet. Question 3 then, my final one for you two. I've been really anxiously anticipating the chance to put this out there. So Dynamite, such a fun episode. Brad, you and I are longtime viewers of this show every Wednesday. I don't want to rank it quite yet because recency bias, but it has to be one of the best Dynamites that I've ever witnessed, top to bottom. I don't think a moment or segment was wasted. Everything was of value. My question for you both, final one today. Do you believe, with how good and how newsworthy the show was our main event overshadowed? So our main event saw Hangman Adam Page retain his championship. He defeated Lance Archer in a Texas death match. Gail, we of course want to hear your thoughts on the weapons, on the blood,
juice,
the juice. We want to hear your thoughts on all of that. But at the heart here, my question is, I forget how long that match was, but it seemed to me like it just kind of, I blinked and the match was over, even with the amount of awesome spots that there were. Do you believe, what were your thoughts on the main event? But then also, do you believe the main event was overshadowed? Was it kind of like, as newsworthy as the show was it to the detriment of the main event and Hangman Adam Page retaining his title? Would you like to start on this one, Gail?
Sure. I could speak on this. I think I think that Keith Lee. Cat keeps wanting to come in. Keith Lee.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Lucky the cat.
I thought that it was well done, but I didn't think it overshadowed the main event. The main event was well done. It was gruesome. It was very juicy, as you said. And, this has been one of my things.
Lucky's here.
That I find when we say this is family friendly, and he's forking his head with the fork, and he gets out the barbed wire chair and wraps his arm in the barbed wire. It does seem a little bit unfriendly.
We're not going to show the grandkids this match.
But I think that it was, entertaining, and I know that true fans like you guys who really know the moves and everything could appreciate it, and it was well done and juicy, as you said. But I think it's scripted, so we know they're safe. But I mean, just like that punch in the leg that we talked about earlier, that's gotta hurt. That has to hurt. I mean,
all of it hurts. Sure.
If somebody's poking you in the head with a fork, I thought of different ways you can do it, like not hold on to it and let your hands slip and stuff. Yeah. But there's blood gushing out of his head. So
yeah. Or I thought about when Lance Archer, he hit his finishing move, the blackout, where he
onto the steps.
Yeah, he threw he threw Hangman Page over his head, and then on like that has to hurt, no?
Yes. You saw the stairs bent. Yes. I mean, they really bent. I do not like the stairs things as you know, and here's Lucky.
There's Lucky the cat.
There you go.
Wow.
Good time on camera.
YouTube at 19 Media Group.
So that's my take.
So you don't think the main event suffered from how great
I do not, because I really like Keith Lee, and I loved his zip. I loved that in his stance, and I really loved the audience reaction to him. I mean, that was I know that had to be a feel-good moment for him, but I didn't think it took away. That's my opinion. I didn't think it took away from that.
Okay. And then Brad, how about you? We had MJF opening the show. We had Wardlow. We had CM Punk and Jon Moxley versus FTR, Serena Deeb. There was just so much. What are your thoughts on this one?
This was the best episode of Dynamite I've ever seen. Undeniably, I know it's recency bias. Well, I think it might be recency bias. I don't know that it is. I don't think it's hyperbole. I think this was an incredible episode of Dynamite. What was the weak spot? I don't really have one. Everything felt important. The promo at the beginning, number one, MJF on Twitter saying it's going to be a very humble celebration, and then doing all of that for the first 20 minutes of the show with him and Punk, and him demanding a rematch, and then him talking to Wardlow, all of that stuff. You know what my takeaway was from that? I just built a flat in the theater that looked just like the one they carried MJF in on. And I know how to make that exact same flat. And that's all I could think about, because my brain is just set on this stupid set. So anyway, we have that. We have the rookie challenge, which I think is an incredible idea for Serena Deeb. Oh, it's so good. The 5-minute rookie challenge. We have that match was one of the best tag matches I've ever seen. At least in AEW. And that's saying something. It was like top 10, probably.
And then we know FTR is your favorite tag team automatically, and they just casually put on one of their best matches in the company.
Yeah, they're just like, it was Wednesday. What the hell? Let's just be the best team ever. It's just it was incredible to watch all of that. The Keith Lee debut, I'm not going to speak on that anymore. We already talked about that. And the main event. So was it overshadowed? Yes. Did it take away from the main event? No. That main event was incredible. Nobody on social media is talking about it. They're talking about Keith Lee's debut. I don't think that matters, though. I don't think it takes anything away from Hangman's match or Archer's match. That match was one of the best. It was an absolute classic title defense. And we know that when Lance Archer says Texas Death Match, we know it's going to deliver. We know we're going to get some carnage, but we know it's also going to be a really good match. So I didn't think it didn't take anything away from the match, but it definitely was overshadowed by the Lee debut. But how could it not be? It's. Do you remember a lot of the matches, the other matches that were the night CM Punk debuted? I know Jurassic Express wrestled, but I don't remember who they faced. So it's whatever. So I didn't think it took away from it, but it did overshadow it.
Yeah, well said. I have nothing to add. I think you both summed up my feelings as well.
Okay, yeah, this "you sick bleep" chants coming out of the crowd immediately afterward is with forks, light tubes, and pizza cutters. That's what you're going to get from these fans.
And the steel steps are a no for Gail. Still,
No, I don't like the stair steps.
Lots of thoughts just went through my head with the back probably having little diamond imprints on it, Hangman, and him tweeting, I'm sick of bleeding every month. And then all of the women on Twitter taking that tweet and using it differently, I thought was hilarious. It was amazing. But trust me, Hangman got noticed, but I don't think it was because of the match. I think it was because of his unfortunate tweet, but it was, he has been in all of his matches, Juice, all of his title defenses. That Danielson match, I'm still thinking about how bloody Bryan Danielson got. Just, he was gone because he was getting IVs and apple juice to try to recuperate some of the blood. I'm convinced. So my final question for both of you, and Gail, this is maybe you'll know and maybe you won't, but what is the ceiling? I can't wait to hear your response to this, Tyler. It's really two-parter. What is the ceiling for Keith Lee, who is 37 years old? And do you see his career extending into other promotions? I don't mean leaving AEW, but do you see him like going to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla or going to MLW or GCW to do matches? Does he do a thing in Impact? Does he do a thing with New Japan? What do you see for Keith Lee and what is his ceiling?
Yeah, would you like to take this one?
Okay.
Yeah, I may have alluded to this earlier. In terms of his ceiling, I really think it's main event, world champion status. I'm gonna continue saying that until it happens. Scream it from the rooftops. World champion, absolutely. But after that, I didn't realize he was 37. I knew he was in his mid to late 30s. But again, what does that even mean in pro wrestling?
Right.
Anymore? You have dudes who are putting out classics in their 40s.
Jericho won the title when he was like 48.
Yeah, but we also know Keith Lee had some health challenges last year. So I would, I don't see him making that run on GCW or Impact or another promotion outside of AEW. Again, this is just totally speculating, just my complete guess. I would say he has a fantastic run in AEW, heavyweight champion. But then after that, I would say that's kind of it for him. I don't foresee him, kind of making that tour to different promotions. Maybe he does, but I just want him to be healthy. I want him to have such an incredible run in AEW, and I would be fine with just that. So I don't see him. I don't want to say it's beneath him whatsoever, because that's not fair to him nor these great companies. But man, he's limitless. I just see that presentation being on AEW, and I think that'll be it. How about you, Gail? Where does he go from here? World champion?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I just that seems like the right move, the script.
Yeah.
Script
and,
ending.
and based on the fan reaction, it's tough. Last thing
Yeah.
I'll say here is it's tough because in NXT he was a double champion. He held the two main
right.
men's belts at one time. He beat Adam Cole, who's now in AEW. So clearly we know
Ooh, that's going to be fun.
Yes,
Ooh,
he can
that's
be
gonna
that
be
guy
fun.
and be
Yeah.
successful. But then we saw him on Raw,
His manager.
where he had some early success, yeah, and then Keith Lee just became another guy, and then he disappeared from our TV. So I just think, based on his star power, as we've spent several minutes talking about in this episode, and really based on the fan reaction, I mean, that's so much of this industry, right? Is Vince McMahon, Tony Khan, whomever, seeing who do the fans respond to. And I really hope that that energy and that support behind Keith Lee goes further than just his debut. I hope we keep that energy for him.
Yeah.
What do you think, Brad? Do you agree with us? Do we have a consensus?
Yeah, I was trying to think, like, do we see him in, like, I don't see him wrestling Matt Cardona for the NWA championship, which he won this weekend, which I think is great. Matt Cardona is
awesome.
Killing it outside of WWE.
Yes, he is.
I
The most
love what he's
WWE
doing.
guy ever.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
an indie superstar.
Yes, it's amazing. It's
who
so
would've thought?
good. Yeah. So Keith Lee somewhere else. I don't know where it would be. I could see him doing some stuff with New Japan through AEW, I guess is what I'm getting at. Not him leaving and working at Impact, but
Gotcha.
maybe doing a program where he wrestles Moose or I don't know, somebody over there. Maybe we get him in Gresham or him in oh man, Keith Lee versus Sami Callihan would be great.
Yeah.
Two really big dudes. I think there's potential there, but I think I'm with you. I think world champion for sure. I don't think he goes for the TNT belt, but definitely in the world championship picture all the time. I just can't wait to hear him speak in AEW. I love his cadence, the way he speaks. It's very pastoral and it's just calm and it's perfect. So I can't wait to see him start talking. I would love to see him feud with MJF. Honestly, I think it could be special because they're so different, and I think that could rule. So I'm with you. I think
that could
world
happen.
champion, right? World champion. Do you follow up question? I know we're gonna end up doing $145 here probably at the end of this. Follow up question. Do you think they acknowledge that Adam Cole was supposed to be his manager on the main roster?
Absolutely. 100%. I don't know if I'm going to guess that's probably a BTE skit rather than on Dynamite, but I think we're absolutely getting that somehow. Maybe as soon as BTE this coming week.
I hope so. And I hope he's like, could you please go get me my coffee? Like, it's just something simple where he's like, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah. I think that could be amazing. Really excited about all the possibilities.
Yeah, I just want to have a great run and just wishing him health during this run and ultimately after as well.
Yes.
So we've reached the point in the pod where we just quickly touch on anything we missed from the week, any final non-AEW thoughts. So I just have a few notes here for you both. First, we saw that Athena, formerly known as Ember Moon, made her return to the ring. Mm-hmm. She fought Thunder Rosa, AEW's own Thunder Rosa, at Warrior Wrestling over the weekend. Brad, I need to watch this match. I just saw a clip on Twitter, which you so generously provided me. And oh boy, those are superstars.
Yes.
I need to see that. The other thing I wanted to mention here is somehow, I believe the Elimination Chamber is next weekend. WWE's next pay-per-view. I believe it's the 19th. And I think this is the last one before WrestleMania. Correct me if I'm wrong, you two. I just can't believe it's already here. I got to be honest with you both and our listeners. I don't think I'm going to tune into this one. I usually always watch the WWE pay-per-views. This is one where I just can't get over the show being in Saudi Arabia. And maybe if the card was more enticing, maybe I would be compelled, but it still bothers me. And I just rather spend my Saturday, I don't know, doing something outside in this beautiful Arizona weather or just avoiding this show at all costs. I think it's going to be in the morning for us at like 9 a.m.
Yeah.
So I'll just have Cheerios and read the Arizona Republic or do literally anything else. Maybe I'll watch the Nope trailer again. Shout out to Jordan Peele. I can't wait for that movie to hit theaters in July. So those are my two notes. Just Athena is back, and hopefully we see more of her. And then also that WWE pay-per-view is coming up very soon.
Okay.
Thoughts,
This
notes
is,
from
this is
from
my
you both?
thoughts. This is my thoughts
Yeah.
about Elimination Chamber. I'm not going to watch it. Forgot it was happening. Don't care about it at all. Think it's trash. Hate Saudi Arabia deals like this. Just blood money in the bank city. I don't. Alex Bawalski would yell "Sands of Time." We're
Yes.
getting. They went on to the top of the bookshelf once again. Pulled the crusty book down, blew the dust off of it, and look, it's Goldberg. Do I want to see this? I don't need my eyes to be poisoned. So I'm not going to watch this. I'm not going to support it, knowing full well that today, before pulling down the Packers merch because it's Super Bowl Sunday, I saw my Hurt Business t-shirt up there.
Nice.
So I have a hard time not supporting the wrestlers, but I have a very easy time not watching this show. So I don't care. I don't want to watch it.
Yeah. Do you both think Lashley is going to drop the title to Brock Lesnar at this show?
I don't think so. No, I think,
Really?
I think he retains it. I think he keeps it. I don't think Brock gets it back. I think they need to validate Bobby Lashley again because he lost it to Big E after being unstoppable. And then he got manhandled by Brock Lesnar. So I think he keeps it, but I don't know how the Saudi crowd feels about Brock Lesnar. If they're big Brock Lesnar fans, or if the Prince or whoever that Vince made the deal with, the blood money guru there, likes Brock, then Brock's gonna win.
Brock Lesnar.
Which we're not going to hear
That
again.
sounded like Paul Heyman. Was that
No
Gail
more-
Thorvardson or Paul Heyman?
Brock, the reigning and defending. Yeah, I don't.
So
we'll,
good.
We'll see. I think Brock loses, but we might again get some more Roman Reigns interference since we know that that's where they're headed.
Right. Gail, that's probably music to your ears. Bobby Lashley potentially walking into Elimination Chamber and leaving Raw champion.
Yeah, I would love that. But I like Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
Did I say that right now?
You did. The Almighty, the leader, or the face of the Hurt Business. Sweet. Well, Brad, you alluded to this. My final words today are related to the Super Bowl. It's just in a few hours as we record here. I am so excited for the halftime show. I can't wait to see that. And I just would like to know what you think about the Super Bowl this year. We got the Bengals against the Rams. It is in the Rams' backyard. Do we have an official prediction? Who are we going for?
I don't. That's my answer. I don't have a prediction. So here's why. I have, and I think we may have talked about this a couple of weeks ago when we were talking to Tanisha, but Jess, big Lions fan. Well, was a big Lions fan, was a big not watching the Lions fan the last year and a half, whatever it was. She wants Stafford to win one. They're printing merch in Detroit that is like basically it's Rams but Lions colors for Stafford. I would feel great to see Matthew Stafford win a Super Bowl. However, Bengals haven't won one. So I would like to see them win too. I'd love to see Joe Burrow win a title this early on. So I don't know how to feel because I want both of these teams to win for a variety of reasons. I like the Rams. I think the Rams are really strong. I don't know how you feel about it, Tyler, as a Cardinals fan. So
not bitter at all.
Yeah, right. I bet.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go. Bengals are gonna win this, but hoping that Jess gets her Stafford moment. Otherwise, I don't care. As far as the halftime show goes, it's the most promising halftime show in a very long time. I don't know what it's going to sound like given what the constraints are of national television and who's in this. Like if you could have a who's who of explicit lyrics ratings going up for a halftime show. It's this one. And
Yeah.
I don't know what
Snoop, Eminem, Mary J, Dr. Dre, Kendrick.
Yeah.
Hopefully I named all of them. It's a star-studded list.
I can't wait to see Mary J. I love big Kendrick guy, but man,
those are the two for me.
Yeah, those are the two that I'm most excited. With Dre and Eminem coming in, this is my prediction. There is going to be a transition in there where they both start doing their thing together, like Dre 2000 style will probably happen.
Nice.
And I don't know how they're going to edit that out. I just don't.
Yeah, it's going to be something to see.
I don't know what they're going to perform.
They have to have a delay. They'll have to have a delay with those people, if there's explicit, because
they're going to be hammering the dump button.
Wardrobe malfunction. How big a deal that one little speck of time was.
Well, this will be prepared if they like they'll have it edited out ahead of time. It's just I don't know how they edit that much, especially Eminem, unless he sticks with the main radio songs. Then it'll be okay. But I feel like a lot of us aren't there to listen to the main radio stuff. And some of it's never been radio stuff. So especially like Kendrick, all I can think of is the Black Panther soundtrack is as close as we could get to it, right?
Yeah, that's about it.
And even there,
I mean, we could go 30 more on Kendrick's discography. I would agree with you. Yeah, definitely more of an album. You gotta listen to the full album to appreciate his stuff. Not really a radio track guy. He was on like a Taylor Swift song, but that's Gail, take us home. Who you got in this game? Team Most West.
Yeah, it's the Team Most West. So the Cardinals, I hope, are going to win. No.
Oh, me too. Me too. Hopefully we have a quarterback.
The Rams. I'll take the Rams. I always take the team.
I changed my pick. I'm taking the Team West. I wasn't thinking that there was anything Ohio related, and Ohio can sink into the sea.
Okay.
Go blue.
I always do it anyways.
It's a consensus. I'm going with the team with the Best Buy sponsored uniforms. I think the Los Angeles Rams win. It does look like Best Buy.
Yes, it absolutely does.
Don't you think so, Gail? The blue and I mean, they're kind of cool, but it looks like that they're sponsored by the Best Buy store.
Get rid of the Ram logo. Just put the big ticket up. It
was funnier in my head. It's a consensus. I'm going with the Rams. I think this is their year. And I am looking forward to the game. I think we covered it all. GI listeners, thank you so much for hanging with us, especially if you made it to this point in the pod. Gail, thank you for coming on. This was an absolute pleasure. We hope it was time well spent for you, and we just appreciate you so much.
Yeah, it really was fun to think about these things. It challenged my thinking. It challenged me to think wrestling.
That's the Thorvardson mentality, right? Like you gotta think, you gotta challenge yourself. And I'm so happy that you came on with us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, it meant a lot. Thank you, Gail.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course.
Absolutely. Of course. We'll close with our plugs. Please be sure to follow Brad at Winduster. You can follow me at Tyler J. McDowell. You can follow 19 Media Group at 19M Group, 19mediagroup.com. You know the crew. They are talented. They are great. Check out their work. Also, be sure to check out our work, GI, Gimmick Infringement Pod.com. Of course, GI Pod 19 on Twitter. You know the deal. And again, thank you, and we'll see you on the next episode of Gimmick Infringement. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.